Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, July 5th. Hope everybody out there had a good 4th of July. I did so, nothing really great, but at the same time, nothing to complain about. Now, yesterday, I mentioned about a mass shooting that took place here in my home state of Texas at Holtom City, which is the Fort Worth area. And some more info came up. But before I get to it, I have to talk about what happened in, I think it was Chicago, Highland Park, Illinois. Excuse me. Okay, a shooter, Robert E. Cremo III, age 22, shot up a parade, a 4th of July parade. Now, what got my interest was his last name, Cremo. As far as I could tell, Cremo is a Romanian name, which kind of reminds me of the Romanian bomber of the Boston Marathon bombing. You know, as soon as everybody said he's a white guy with dark black hair and all this stuff, I immediately thought about the Mexican with the light skin and dark hair that shot up the school over here in Uvalde, Texas. But when they said his name, Cremo, Romanian, it seemed like it was possibly another extremist viewpoint brought on by what I would be thinking was a Romanian foreigner, pretty much like the Boston Marathon bombing. However, looking into this guy's name, he's Cremo III, grandson of Robert Cremo, business owner of 2 food stops. You know, he has caring parents that live in Highland Park. And get this, so he comes from money. He comes from inherited money. But get this, he's also a rapper on Spotify. Yes. He spat a lot. I'm sure he did spit a lot, you know. He had a thing. His rapper name was Awake the Rapper. One of his songs had 2 million listens, and he had 5 more songs out there. Now he did a I forgot what he called it, a manifest, but in the form of a music video. Called Like a Sleeper. And he makes it sound like he's disturbed. However, his pics show himself wearing stuff like Pepe Le Frog on his shirt with a MAGA hat. You know, his pics show him actually at a Trump rally in a Where's Waldo costume. So it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like he's supposed to be this mental disturbed guy, but it turns out he's just another angry conservative extremist, you know. And the proof again is who this person is by way of his family, you know. This is a guy with caring parents that you know, that taught him how to be a good boy and apparently how to make his own money over the internet as this rapper, you know, because nobody really thinks, well, hey, go to the internet and make money. Tells their kid that. I might tell my kid that, but I'm most definitely going to be able to tell them, don't let hype or rhetoric get to your minds, or propaganda. Don't let it creep into your brain, because apparently this is something that caring parents, you know, parents who are children of this migrant food store owner, food business owner, you know, who his grandparent Robert Cremo I, you know, somewhere down the line this guy forgot his identity, or he just decided to turn away from it. Now he's alive, so he might actually try to plead the insanity defense. I personally believe what I've said about previous shooters and previous people of organizations of hate. You know, I say show no mercy. Can hate be untaught? I'm sure it could. But when they take that hate this far, lock them up, throw away the key, or bring them here to Texas. We still have the death penalty. Speaking of Texas, which just goes to show that this guy is nothing but a loser who chose to appease the people of hate. Okay? He chose to appease the people of hate. That's all. That's all that this guy is. Robert Crimo III. Robert E. Crimo III. That's all he is. He's just a chump that chose to appease the people of hate. That's all. He's not psycho. He's not loony. He made, for crying out loud, he made a video manifest, for crying out loud. You know, you got to have some kind of technical production experience with that shit. Even if it's just like Windows, which it wasn't. It was an actual program for film production, TV production. You know, hold on. Sorry about that. I got a sore throat today. For this guy to have done rap music and some kind of entertainment production, he's over here doing video manifests and stuff. That stuff takes a little time. You can't just scribble that on a notebook, on a piece of paper, write it out, and then go, you know, tape it to a wall while you take off and shoot up. That stuff takes time. So this guy was no loony. He was no bastard. He was no weirdo. He wasn't mentally disturbed. His video shows the blurring from right and wrong, where he's just sitting there thinking these evil thoughts of mass murders and all this other crap. You know, I think he used footage of Columbine or some shit like that on there, but only he's got it all blurry, so you can't really tell which incident it was. You know, but he's doing all of this stuff. He took the time to do all that, you know, which is proof that he wasn't just some nut bar flipping out one day. He didn't lose it one day. This guy was a total douchebag trying to appease the people of hate. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And again, if Chicago doesn't have a death penalty, bring them down here to Texas. You know, bring them down here to Texas, where shooters like this Edward Freeman, whatever his damn name is, Edward Freeman in Halton City, Texas, he killed himself. He blasted his brains out. You know, and with good reason, because we would try him, we would make him feel like total horse shit by bringing up who it was that he was, who it was whose lives that he was ruining. We'd make him feel horrible for that horse crap that he did before we pulled the switch, before we flipped the switch. Edward Freeman was the shooter in Halton City, Texas. 2 dead, 4 injured, including 3 officers. They survived, but the file footage off of the neighborhood surveillance shows them that they were ambushed. They were walking or surrounding the perimeter, stepping up to the front, and then a spray of bullets wound up picking them, and they were staggering, running away, staggering away, while the third one was lying in the middle of the street. He was hit pretty bad. Now all three of them are survived. However, there were 2 dead, 4 injured. One was a little old lady, a senior citizen woman who got shot. She's the one they called for the reports. She was then reported the gunshots. 2 people, a guy named Colin Davis and a woman named Amber Sy. So far, no details have gone out on this Colin guy, Mr. Colin Davis. Excuse me. Amber Sy, however, is an artist that came from New York. She moved down here, started a career down here as an artist, and was doing very well up until January 3rd, or excuse me, Saturday, January 2nd. I'm sorry, January 2nd. Excuse me, July. Where am I? It's Saturday, July 2nd. Okay. Nobody yet knows why those two had to take a bullet. Nobody yet knows why the senior citizen woman had to get shot. And there was obviously no reason to shoot those police other than he thought he could get away with it. You know, the man tried to jump over the fences. He tried running. He got caught about a couple of houses down at the end of the block and killed himself because he knew he wasn't going to get away. This is just like that one shooter that I talked about before in previous posts. The shooter that went to that church on the south side, started blasting it with a shotgun, went inside to kill people. He got punched by an unarmed churchgoer, which scared the crap out of him. He ran out, got shot at by the neighbor across the street with an AR-15, who heard the gunshots of the shotgun. So the gunman jumped into his car, tried to drive away. The unarmed churchgoer who punched him, and the armed neighbor across the street from the church who heard the gunshots, they jumped into a vehicle, gave chase. The gunman ran off the road, realized he wasn't going to get away, and blasted his own brains out in his vehicle. You know, this is why I'm saying, bring that Cremo guy down here to, have him extradited to Texas. We'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. He can go on the run. We'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. Edward Freeman, a douchebag, some douchebag, dumbass. Now get this. Get this. This is the bizarre thing, okay? And I guess it's always the ones that you least expect it. Edward Christian Freeman, he's 28 years old. 28. He hasn't lived my life yet completely. I'm 49, I'm 50. And he's 28. He knew the victims, but the details of their relationship and the motive for the shooting are still under investigation. Okay? So he knew the two people. One who was an artist. So I'm imagining the other one is either just the same, or a colleague, or a fellow artist, or whatever. I don't know yet. Nobody knows yet. That information hasn't been released. But Edward Christian Freeman, he was according to Army Public Affairs, he was an infantryman from 2014 to 2019. He attained a non-commissioned rank of sergeant and was awarded medals and commendations, including good conduct, Army achievement, and professional development. As such, with his title. He joined the Texas Army National Guard in 2019 after he left the Army. And he stayed there apparently for 2 years until 2021. Now, his service record has not been disclosed yet. So we don't really know if he was actually a bad boy or somebody that had some kind of symptoms or whatever. But to be there since 2014 all the way to 2021, that's a good 7 years. To think that he had symptoms of being this kind of mass shooter or passionate shooter or aggressive whatever killer, and that being in his service record would be pretty alarming. Okay, it'd be very alarming. Not to say that it would be a surprise, because like Sammy the Bull Gravato, a gangster in New York who ratted out John Gotti, he was a military man himself. Now, he got bounced out. He was only in there long enough to learn how to use machine guns and hand-to-hand combat to kill people, and knife defense or something, like a lot of gangsters usually do. A lot of gangsters usually don't finish their term, or they stay there just for like 2 years. You know, they didn't really do a full 7 like this guy here. But so there is a possibility that once his service record is revealed, that we might actually get to see a pattern of aggressive behavior and such. Something to where he just flips out in July of 2022. You know, half a year after he's been released, or a whole year after he's been released. I don't really know what month out of 2021. But, you know, in the next year, he comes out doing this thing, which is just bizarre. Or is it? We'll find out soon, sometime and later. His public records and even his own LinkedIn account says he attended Holtham High School and lived in far north Fort Worth. So he was Holtham City is, from what I'm to understand, is northeast of Fort Worth. He lived a little bit far north, you know, more northern Texas, even far more northern than Fort Worth. You know, the Tarrant County even says that he had no criminal record. So it's quite possible that what he did was a crime of passion, as opposed to something initiative, or for what he calls patriotism. You know, unlike the douchebag at Chicago, who made a whole manifest and all this other crap. Now, Mr. Colin Davis, I really don't have much information yet on him. That hasn't been released. But Miss Amber Tsai, Tsai, she's an Asian. Amber Tsai has a GoFundMe page set up by her sister Abigail. They've made it all the way up to $14,600 out of a total of $15,000 that's needed currently. Just throwing it out there. What I see when I see this are 2 individuals who have this thing running across their minds, thinking that this is a perfect solution to something, which is just downright idiotic. How do you not see that nothing changes no matter how many people resort to mass shootings? You know, it doesn't make any sense. Got this mass shooter in Texas who targeted people, true. We got a mass shooter in Chicago who targeted people in general. Both had their reasons. However, you know, both will lead to nothing but disregard for the crap that they did, for the beliefs that they believe in. It sounds kind of funky, but it's true. You know, I can't remember the previous shoot. I'm trying to go through my book here. I can't remember the last mass shooting that took place. There was one here in Texas, amongst, I think it was an Amazon or some kind of factory. There was one in El Paso against Mexicans, of course. I probably should have looked it up, but I do apologize. So I'm going to skip that. I'm going to skip the actual incidents, and I'm just going to state, has any of that stopped us from doing what we're doing? You know, how many of us are actually not wanting to go to a Walmart anymore? You know, I go to Walmart. I was there this morning, and I got myself a brand new pocket knife. The old one that I had was just too broken down. Now, obviously, I got to rig it a little bit to where it's a little bit more smooth. It's really binded tight, so it makes it difficult to actually flick it out. I bought myself a brand new pocket knife just simply because the old one was just really, really breaking down. And, that clip is too tight also. I can't put it on my pant pocket without pressing down on it and tearing up the threads and all that crap. But yeah, I mean, I still go to Walmart. I went there for an oil change. That's also how I got that's also when I got my knife. I did a little chopping. But yeah, I mean, I still go to Walmart. I still go to public functions. Now, granted, most of the time I'm doing it while working because, like I said, I'm a rideshare driver. So I'm usually there for work. But I'm still attending, I'm still attending the public functions. No, there's no gunman that's going to stop me from doing that. There's no gunman that stops the rest of the U.S. from doing it. There's no gunman that stops the rest of the world from doing it. For crying out loud. Someplace over in Belgium or Norway or something like that. Some douchebag shot up a place and killed a couple of people. But guess what? Everything is still going to be functioning the same way all over again. It's not going to stop us from living. And again, big props go to you out there, the majority of you out there who are conservative, Democrat, or whatever, white, non-white, or whatever, American raised or American born but foreign from a foreign country, or whatever. Big props go to all of you who do not follow the rhetoric, the preachings of hate, fall under the lines of propaganda or some swindle, some movement that's just nothing but a money racketeering swindle, a swindling money racket. There you go, a swindling racket. Because all those people that contributed to Trump, all the way up to the insurrection, those fools are doing jail time now. A lot of them are still running and hiding and ducking and weaving and all this other crap. And others are doing hard time. The ones that actually did the more serious offenses, other than trespassing, they're doing a little bit more hard time. And the investigators are going up the chain, up the food chain right now. Big props go to all of you who may have heard the rhetoric, who may have thought maybe joining Antifa was the best way to go, and saying to hell with the government. That's not the best way to go. For all of you that have agreed to not follow along with this stuff, big props go to you guys, because it's stupid. It's just downright dumb. It gets us nowhere. It gets us absolutely nowhere, and it doesn't stop a damn thing. It doesn't stop the people from doing what they want to do. 4th of July is over. Now all that's left is here in San Antonio, now all that's left is like food cook-offs and a couple of, cultural events, I don't know what it would be, but because I don't remember, and I don't know now, because post-COVID, everything got jumbled up. This is July. After the 4th of July, we were supposed to have, I think it was the Aloha Fest or Cajun Fest, and one crawfish food festival. And it's not American Ninja Warrior, but it's those obstacle courses, tryouts. They're usually held here at our horse racing lot, a lot right next to the horse racing track. It's called Retama Park. It's the horse racing track. They have an extra piece of land over to one side where those athletic tryout competitions are. They look like American Ninja Warrior stuff. The whole monkey bars thing and the whole, falling into the pit while trying to hang on to that spinning, what looks like a punching bag, but they grab hold of it and it's spinning along over a pool, They got all that kind of stuff in the wall run. They run up the wall to try to get up to the top of it. You know, in under normal circumstances, before the pandemic, before this inflation, yeah, July would be the month where we'd have that kind of cool ass competition going on. You know, there would be another PGA golf tournament. It's usually one in the spring, and there'd be at least another minor league or something like that in the middle of the summer. You know, just before August, when everything gets incredibly hot. You know, in the triple digits, it stays in the triple digits. Like the cool front is 95. You know, that's how hot it gets here in Texas. But yeah, I mean, before the pandemic and all that, we would have a festival or a cook-off, a food fest, a cultural event going on once a month throughout the year. Mole fest, for those of you who don't know, picture what looks like gravy, but is actually a chicken dumpling sauce. It looks like brown gravy, but it's actually a sauce, and you have chicken that you cook in it and everything, and it's just this really, really terrific meal. There would be a mole fest either this month or in August. There'll be a tamale fest, and that's just a Latino. We got Viking Fest. Oh my God! In August, those log throwers wearing kilts. Those they have the big metal balls that they chuck, and then the Viking sparring going on. You know, the last one I went to, Celtica, was performing. They were really good. They were singing some good old Celtic rock version songs. You know, my favorite is Have Some Whiskey, despite the fact that I'm sober. I love it. Today's Friday night, my brothers, have some whiskey, and it's stuff like that. It's a really good one. But yeah, the Renaissance Fair, all the way into September and October. But yeah, I mean, we used to have a festival and everything every month. Once those come back to the point. Once those come back, we're still going to attend them. I'm still going to attend them. I'm either going to work them or I'm going to attend them. You know, it doesn't matter. And every gunman that thinks they can solve their people's problems, you know, depending on what hate group that they're following, you know, in the name of Christ, in the name of their race, in the name of America, you know, whatever. When you resort to mass shooting, you're resorting to hate, and ergo, you're just not solving a damn thing. Everybody knows this. You know this. I know this. We both know this. They know this. And so do we. So, it's just idiotic. And the rehab that we do, the support that we show, all this stuff, I mean, we should always keep it coming, because it's just that good of a thing to do against hate. So that's the dealio about these two douchebags. One that's still under investigation, another that is still under investigation. The victims have not been revealed yet, so there's no GoFundMe page to actually post to state yet. But I'm sure there is there's going to be some kind of charity or request or something that we can actually participate and support and help them out in some way or another. You know, I'm sure even just a couple of bucks will help. But yeah, these people of hate, they're morons in doing so. You know, they may have high IQs on paper. You know, that guy in Chicago, Mr. Cremo III, he might have had some good business sense, given the fact that he comes from a line of business people. But when it came to common sense, the fool was just, as sharp as a bag of rocks. You don't go out picking up a gun to shoot mass people and say, I made a difference. You didn't. You're just a dumbass. You just did a dumbass thing. This guy, Edward Freeman, serviceman, for 7 years straight. Serviceman for 7 years straight. I mean, he never really, the file said that he was never deployed anywhere. So he never really killed any bad guys. And he never really saved any refugees. And he never really protected the natives of whatever land that he was supposed to be deployed at. He never really did anything heroic, as far as we know. Because again, his service record has not been revealed. The Army Public Relations said, no, not at this time. They're disclosing any information. So right now I can pretty much say it, this guy who devoted his time to serving the country, but despite the fact that he didn't really do anything heroic, flipped out this one day and started shooting people. Some could say that it was a love affair or something like that. That's usually the first thing that we resort to, we the normal common civilians. If that was true, then what the hell was, if that was the case, then he's still a dumbass, because he's a military sergeant. He could have just whooped their ass. He could have just knocked out the chick. He could have just kicked that man in the balls so damn hard, that his balls would be inflated and multicolored like orange, a combination of other colors, that badly bruised. You would have thought he would have been bitch slapping both of them, to where they pissed their pants and shit. But instead, he resorts to shooting a combative weapon, even at a senior citizen, in the neighborhood, because other people were dodging bullets as well that came out to see what the commotion was about. And then to top it all off, three cops, just under a handful of cops. Now he shot at the rest of them, but he pegged three of them. So, on paper, the guy looked like a dang hero. On paper. We're seeing him now, and he is just this jackass that thinks he could solve a problem with a gun. It's just messed up. It is messed up. No different than Cremo the Third. Mr. Freeman, Mr. Cremo. You guys were dumbasses. Plain and simple. Freeman killed himself because he couldn't get away. Cremo, I think he wanted to get caught so he can, gain more popularity and fame and popularity. Get that paparazzi over here. Might not be turning out the way he expected. Because if anybody remembers arresting procedures, one of the first things you're done is thrown locked up into a cage. You're thrown into a cell. There's no people running up, sir, why did you do it? Why? There's nobody getting in line to have interviews with you. There certainly isn't anybody wanting any autographs. So, yeah. We got two incidents that are just messed up. The media and everybody around and everybody amongst, like, people that are going to jump in my car are going to say they were crazy. This was outrageous. I've never seen anything like it. I am shocked. All the standard repercussion reactions. All I'm saying is that it's messed up. It is just messed up. They were messed up, not us, not the situation. Them two were messed up. and they should be punished severely. Well, one is suicide, so we can't punish him. The cops in Dalton City are not even talking him by his name. They're just calling him the shooter, and I think that's fair. Cremo more than likely is not going to get that kind of discriminative against him, discriminative tactics against him, or not so much discriminative, but demoting thing. Everybody's going to remember Cremo's name, and that's fine. He's still just a jackass, and I think we should all remember to include that, Cremo the jackass. Okay. Details to come up, and somewhere down the line I'm going to be posting my opinion. I'm still working on following the money with a lot of political issues. Yeah, but something's going to come up, and I'm going to be able to broadcast it very, very soon. Roe v. Wade right now is still being looked at. There's people that are still petitioning to have it reinstated, while everybody else that's pleased are making their claims. And then the cop killings. Well, not the cop killers. No, not the cop killers. The killings performed by cops are still being looked at, and justice needs to be served. We've got a bunch of good cops that I've been promoting, talking about this entire time. Everything from border to here at the San Antonio airport, the cop that shot that gunman that missed everybody at the pickup section, missed everybody and got shot by the cop at the same time. The whole place was full of people, and the gunman just shot randomly, pow, 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 and he missed everybody. That was funky. The cop took one shot, knocked him, put him out of place. Sananto, punks. But yeah, I mean, he I have no problem promoting good cops, but I still have to voice my concerns concerning bad ones. Now, the one that's currently under investigation, I forgot his name. That's being done in another state, but full well that the subject of cops and cops that are killers, it's coming up, and we're gonna have to talk about it at some point in time. Right now, everybody's talking about Biden sucks, Biden's this, Biden's that, and it still boggles my mind how nobody's going to ExxonMobil and telling them, quit your shit, because Biden's not jacking up the prices. He's over here throwing all these temporary relief packages and stuff, trying to strike deals with other countries that Trump closed off to, Trump severed from, without supporting any tyranny or dictators, which is tricky, of course, because most of the oil, most of those countries with the oils are ran by tyrannical dictator douchebag leadership. So he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Oh, and the oil companies right now, Shell, BP, ExxonMobil, all of these fools are out, and Chevron, they're all over here going, well, we need our pipeline. We need our pipeline. We can't reopen all those refineries that we closed during the pandemic because the pandemic. We need the pipeline, or we need more money and all this other crap. No. This is why I'm supporting the current president. Is he perfect? No, not by a long shot. But as long as he stands his ground and not catering to this douchebag mentality of these CEOs and corporations of the 7 major oil and fuel industries, okay, corporations in the oil and fuel industry, okay, as long as he's not catering to them and this babbling bullshit about bullcrap. I forgot. This is for YouTube, not the podcast. Oops, sorry. This babbling bullcrap about needing more money and which of course is our tax-paying dollars. The tax wealth plan has not been passed. Okay? So anybody making $400,000 a year or more are still not paying taxes. That includes everybody that's involved in the oil and fuel companies through the oil and fuel industry. Okay? Companies and the people in them that are banking that big are not paying their fair share of taxes. So for them to say, well, this is what we demand if you want to see prices no longer gouged, no, hell no. No. They made $40 billion just within the first quarter of this year. They can't reopen a refinery that's already been built that cost about 10 to 20 million to have reopened. I'll bet them $40 billion that they can. We're in the middle of the second quarter. Well, no, we just finished the second quarter. And all throughout the price gouging, now the numbers haven't come in yet, but they made more than a measly $40 billion. They banked big. They can't use a little bit of that money to reopen refineries that are already built, but were shut down 2 years ago because of the pandemic. They can't reopen the refineries. They see no initiative. They see no incentive. They just don't have the motivation. No, Biden, stand your ground. The hell with that bullcrap. Find another damn relief until these, douchebags, they think they got you at the end of 3 months. In another 2.5 months, they think they got Biden once this tax holiday is done. I think Biden should find another temporary solution, to be totally honest, and not cater to the current companies and corporations of the oil and fuel industry. Don't bow down to their crap. That's all I'm saying. And we'll tough out the next shooter. We'll tough out the next shooter that sees Biden doing this kind of shit to those poor defenseless oil companies. So he feels the need to kill people. Right. Look, we'll handle it. All right? We'll handle them. Right now, we're all making that dollar stretch anyway because of this inflation crap. We're making that dollar stretch. We're having to, and I got no problem with it. I've never had a problem resorting from vegetable produce to the canned goods. I've never had a problem with that. I've never had a problem with downsizing from Bertelli to ramen. Okay, I've never had a problem with that. I've never had a problem with Prego to the generic section. Okay? It's all a part of making that bill stretch. That dollar. And that's what it comes down to. That's what it's always been. It was just easier not to think about it when we were doing good financially and all this good stuff. And everybody that's saying, well, back when Trump, we didn't have this problem. Well, yeah, Trump was deregulating everything. And now that they're deregulated, look what's happening now. The oil company, fuel company, we need less regulation. Well, they've been deregulated all throughout Trump. Look what you're doing now. Nobody told you to raise the prices just because Trump got voted out. Or let's say it was stolen. Let's say it was stolen. Biden stole the election. Sleepy Joe is quicker than you think. Let's say you're right. Nobody told you, fools, to jack up the prices to any of this stuff. What does that presidential election have to do with the gas that were already deregulated through Trump? He didn't say, I'm going to go after gas people. Biden didn't say that. He just simply said, I want to tax the wealthy who are not paying their fair share. That's what he said. He didn't say dick. Oh man, I forgot. This is YouTube. He didn't say squat about the agricultural business and the farming and all this other stuff. I want to make sure that now that because Trump had all those foreigners removed from their crops, that every farmer has to do the planting and the cropping themselves. He didn't say that. He did not say squat about that. He simply said, I want to tax the wealthy that are not paying their fair shares. That's what he said. He didn't say anything about the houses. He didn't say, I want to make sure that every single one of these housing corporations and stuff fork over a certain amount of houses for the poor and the meek and all this other stuff. Fork over this stuff. He didn't say that. He didn't say you couldn't bank off a certain amount of houses. No. He simply said, I want to tax the wealthy so they pay their fair share of taxes. That's what he says. That's what he's saying. Yet, no reason for any of this stuff. None. Biden, stand your ground. Please. We'll tough it out on our end. Just make sure that these douchebags get what they deserve. Just live up to your end. We'll do ours. Plain and simple. And forget these douchebags that are shooting people in mass shootings. You know, we've proven, especially here in Texas, that, you know, gunmen take a chance, you know, but they're never going to get away. They may do some damage, but they're never going to get away, even if it means they have to kill their own damn selves. They're not getting away from justice over here. You know, so some of us in certain states, you know, we can hold our own. Don't let any of these fools that listen to this propaganda horse crap or that rhetoric horse crap, donkey dung. Don't listen to it. Don't think that because they're listening to it that they start shooting everybody, that we're gonna cater to what their hate is saying. We're not catering to that. I really don't want to see my president catering to that either. Plain and simple. That's all that we got right now. Hopefully this doesn't get struck because of my accidental cursing, and it was an accident. I do apologize for that. Please show me some sympathy, show me some love, okay? We'll catch you all later. So I'm gonna go download this, and then I'm gonna jump to the podcast where I can curse as much as I want. All right, y'all take care. Y'all take it easy. And it's basically gonna be this same message. But yeah, it's basically gonna be the same message, but only on audio only. That way you don't have to look at my ugly mug. Y'all take care. Y'all take it easy. We'll catch you later. This is Chris with Chris's Comments, signing out.